Hello, my name is Paula Ganga, and I'm a postdoctoral fellow at Columbia University with the Harriman Institute. I am originally from Romania and received my undergraduate degree from Alexandru Puza University in Iași, my hometown. I also studied in France and England before coming to the US, where I received my PhD from Georgetown University. I have been a postdoctoral fellow at University of Rochester as well as now at Columbia. My research focuses on Eastern Europe and its experience during the transition period, and more specifically, the possibility of reversal of some of the reforms that took place during the 1990s with the advent of populist leadership throughout the region. This research is grounded within political economy, but I mostly focus both on economic reforms as well as on political reforms. So I situate myself very firmly within comparative political economy. During my time as a recipient of the grant on pandemics, cities, regions, and industry, I used my knowledge on Eastern Europe, specifically on the legacies of communism and the legacies of the transition period, to study specifically how the governments in the region have reacted during the pandemic. There has been a lot of research on how early on these governments were able to more easily control the pandemic, whereas now, specifically in the past 6 to 9 months, they have seen a much more increased mortality rate as well as illnesses. And I spent my time during the grant studying the institutional and economic factors that explain such situation. I find that the early success was due mostly to the fact that a lot of these countries were able to implement very strict lockdowns. My own family in Romania was pretty much not allowed to leave the house, and they were very much constrained in their day-to-day activity, economic activity itself grinding to a halt. But later on, the inadequacies of the medical systems throughout the region showed in the fact that hospitals became quickly overwhelmed and medical care was less than adequate for the gravity of the situation. So I spent the grant really honing in on how my previous knowledge on the economic and political situation of the region is now explaining what we see in the daily lives of citizens in Eastern Europe. Oftentimes, I conclude it is the decisions of the political leaders, specifically to maintain their position in power, that can explain some of the factors, some of the situations, and some of the mortality rate we see in the region, more than maybe even the legacies of the past 20 to 30 years. I was very grateful to receive this grant because it allowed me to spend time studying this phenomenon in real time as the pandemic was happening, something that I would not have had time or the ability to do otherwise. I'm hoping to publish an article from this research, as well as include some of the conclusions from this work in my future book on the reversal of reforms in Eastern Europe. So thank you very much, RSA, for this support.